always had that something in you where you wanted to strive for better. So describe for me, what has your journey been like in life?
The journey it's been very hard because, I was on public assistance, so it was like, at first it was a boundary there. Anybody knows about public assistance, they only want you to go so far, or they're going to cut it off.
When you describe yourself now, tell me, who's Freddie Stevenson, the man that you are now?
A few years ago, I remember in college, they would always have speakers come in and ask us who we are. I wouldn't have been able to answer the question. It probably would have had something to do with football. I'm a fullback for Florida State. I want to play in the NFL. But now it's just simple. I'm Freddie Stevenson, man of purpose.
This is a passion of mine. The whole premise behind the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast is to spotlight the fact that it is now time for you to get your dope comeback story.
Hey, say Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. Say Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. Jazzie Conversations with Jazz.
Every Monday, I call people into a studio and we dig into their comeback stories, because I know that we see people in their glory and we see people when they're on top, when they can have that silver lining to them, but we all go through some things, right? We all go through some things, and I think once we're real with people and we let people know the trials and tribulations that we've gone through, it only makes us human and it connects one of us.
So I just want to know, what would be your advice to someone who is looking to start their own podcast?
First and foremost, let me back up. Find your voice. What are you going to talk about? Is it something that people want to listen to? How long will your podcast be? What's going to be the consistency of your podcast? Are you going to do it like weekly, daily? Are you going to do it monthly? So once you find that, because that's going to indicate if somebody wants to listen to your podcast or not. I do know how I'm doing it. I'm doing it with God. I'm doing it because this is a passion of mine. And when you are passionate about something, you're not going to stop. So it really it comes down to how bad do you want it.
Hey, Jazzie crew. It definitely comes down to how bad do you want it. And so around here at the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast, you know that we want it badly, right? And so we do nothing but succeed. We don't let anything get in our way. We don't let doubt. We don't let fear. We don't let insecurities or any of that get in our way, because we know that God has orchestrated success in our lives. And so this is a fantastic Monday. It is my favorite day of the week. And if you are tuned in, I know that you already know that it is a fantastic Monday, June 2nd. Can you believe that we are halfway through this entire year? Like 2025 is flying by. So I want you to go back to those vision boards and I want you to be very focused on achieving your goals. And it's okay to create new goals as well, because, hey, that's what we are all about. We are all about succeeding. We are all about making that comeback. And so if you have not made the goals and the successes that you wanted to make by this time, it's okay. It's okay. Just restart, focus, and get started again. All right. So listen, if you are tuned in, what I need for you to do right now is I need for you to hit that subscribe button. If you are viewing this via YouTube, I need for you to follow me if you are on Facebook or if you are on IG. And I need for you to make sure that you engage into this conversation, because I can see you. Did you know that I can see you? Let's see who I see right now. So Theo, I see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be such a remarkable episode. So thank you so much. So just like Theo did, all you have to do is comment and I can see it. I will definitely spotlight your comment if you have a question for my special guest. That's how we roll. That's how we do things here at the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. This is a podcast that celebrates the power of the comeback. And I just want to give kudos to a few of my Jazzie crew members, they have been moving and shaking. And first and foremost, what I want to do is shine a huge, gigantic stage light on Miss Kim Perrimon. Listen, you have been doing an amazing job, Kim. Kim Possible. I know she goes by Kim Possible sometimes, and then her brand is the Easy Peasy Party Planner. She is luxury right now. She's doing our high profile clientele, luxury clientele, and if you really want to know how she started, now you can go to Angela Yee. I sounded like Webby for a second. You can go to Wallow if you'd like. She's been hitting podcast after podcast and sharing her unique story. But you know one place that you can also find her story on? That's right, the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. She was an early guest on the show. So she is a part of my Jazzie crew. And I just want to say kudos to you because you are actually showing us how it is done. You are not stopping. You are going after every single one of your dreams. And I am so proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you. So make sure that you are subscribing so that you can follow all of my other Jazzie crew members as well. You want to make sure that you keep an eye on Miss Portia White because I'm congratulating you too, sis. Portia White is having her 10-year anniversary for her fashion show, Portia Allure. We're taking it back. We're doing it homecoming style, right? And so it is going down this Sunday at Lake Eva. So I want to see your face in the place. And then I want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Christopher King, who is celebrating also a momentous and monumentous celebratory event for his Gentleman's Gala. So his Gentleman's Gala is going to go down this Saturday in Clearwater. It's an all-white affair, and it's going to be all glitz and all glam. So make sure you are there as well. So I truly believe that you can make a comeback from anything. We're going to get right into the show. I believe that you can come back from anything with God, the right resources, using those resources effectively, and your willingness to do the necessary work. And so we are going to talk to someone who is no stranger at all to this premise. And you guys know her. If you are a Lakelander, if you are in Polk County, born and bred, you absolutely know Miss Sharita Hawkins. Now, Sharita Hawkins is a licensed cosmetologist. She's a hair loss specialist. She's a platform artist, and she's also an educator with 30 plus years in the beauty industry. She's the owner of TP Hair Lounge, and she's also the founder of Total Perfection Outreach Inc., Bruised But Not Broken, TP Grubs, and TP Logistics Inc. Now, she believes that she's driven to uplift the battered and broken through testimony, healing, and purpose. And so without further ado, I am bringing Miss Sharita Hawkins to the stage. How are you, Mama?
Hey, girl, I'm a little nervous, but I'm here. I'm doing good.
Listen, you are here. You are doing good. And I just want to shout out to you. I'm going to do a rewind for a second because my other member of my Jazzie crew, which you are now, since you are episode 154, but I had Miss Shay Knight on my podcast early on in the start of my podcast journey. And at her pop-up shop, oh my gosh, one of the first dishes that I saw when I arrived there, it was like, this pineapple dish. The pineapple had already caught my attention. And it was just the way that this person was eating this dish. She was over there by herself, nobody was by her, but she was making all these noises and and I'm like, well, do you mind if I record you? And then she started telling me where she got it from. And I looked over and she was pointing at you. And I was like, let me find out. Let me go over here and let me see what Miss Sharita has over here. So before we get started into anything, tell everybody about TP Grubs because I was new to it. I did not know you had that business. So explain what she was eating and then just explain a little bit about that.
Okay, so what that was, it was just like a pineapple. We call it, honestly, I'm the type of person, I'll have something that comes to my mind and I'll just put a name on it. And honey, if you come ask for it again, I might not even know what I said. So I have to be better about writing it down. But I call it it's a pineapple bowl. And it was a Caribbean style. I learned that from my mom because my mom, Shirley's Place, she's always been a cook.
Yeah.
Everybody knows her. That's from Polk County as being a cook. She was 5 stars in the Ledger and all over chef department. People from the city of Lakeland, everybody used to come and hang out at her joint. So I've always known how to cook. So that was birthed from just the struggle. So, you know, like when you're a cosmetologist, sometimes it's up and down. So like summertime now, I'm slow. So you have to try to get a different stream of income. So I'm like, okay, God, what could I do? Got to make room for your gifts.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you know, let me just do this. So I started off doing fruit cups. That's how TP Grubs was, you know, birthed. Miss Gloria, everybody knows Miss Gloria. She sells fruit. She's the Mexican Spanish lady, and she goes around delivering fruit. She used to deliver it to me, and I'm like, you know what? I love mango. So I looked at my cash app, and I was like, in a whole year, I spent almost $3,000 buying fruit. So I said, you know what? No, ma'am, I'm going to go and do that myself. So I cut up some fruit, and I just went ahead and I sold it in my shop. I brought like 10 cups. My clients started to like it, and that's how it was birthed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you said something, to start off, and it was really about having faith. And so the first pillar of making a comeback for me, through this journey, through this journey of life, when life's, God also God's. And so just through this whole journey of always and continuously making consecutive comebacks, I quickly discovered that your comeback journey definitely starts with God. And so just me knowing you in the short period of time that I've known you, I know that you love yourself some God, right? But let me tell you, the first time I met you was at Prince Hitson's event that he had at his shop. And I remember him introducing us to one another. And he was like, "You don't know Sharita?" And I was like, I was like, "I've never met her before." Like, and he was just so perplexed. Like, how do you not know her? Like, she's one of the dopest people that I know. And it's like, after that chance meeting, you were so nice. You were so sweet. We exchanged information. I said I was going to get you on this podcast one way or the other. And we are here finally. But and what's so funny, because you shared this with me. What was so funny is, when you did Demetrius Hayes his play, the Wizard 2.0, you were doing my hair. And it wasn't until after the event that you realized who I was. Like, the whole time I'm sitting there, I was like, she's just, we were so busy. We were so busy. And it's like, you had a chance just to put your healing hands in my head for just a second. And I was like, I'm looking, and I'm like, she don't reshape this whole unit. I was like, I ain't throwing it away. I'm gonna keep it a few more days.
Right.
I was like, come on, come through, hairstylist. But I just thought that was amazing that I got an opportunity, just like that, off of a whim, to just see your talents and just to see how truly a blessed person that you are. But just you're so sweet. Like, you're really a nice person.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. But your love for God really shone through with the event that you just had. We just went through a 2025 Gospel Fest in Arbondale. She brought it to Polk County, Florida. It was such a great event, and it was so on time. It was so on time. And I want to ask you, what made you do the event? And then, how did you get through the obstacles of making the event happen?
Gotcha. So I did it for a few reasons. First of all, I've always had this big mind, off the topic, but still on the topic. When I first started doing hair, I was always wanted to move out of the state and go somewhere where it was just like upscale. And so I'm like, you know what? Right now, I'm not financially stable for that before I start the shop. So I'm going to do whatever I need to do right here. So I like to I just always wanted to do something bigger, right? And so when I was in my salon, I used to always try to do events, put on events, and it would never hit here. And so I kind of got discouraged. And then I would start by trying to do other events. And it just never really, it just like Lakeland just was not popping like that at the time. And it's like nobody saw my vision. And after a while, I started like years down the line, I'm like, okay, this is what I've been trying to do for a long time. And during the course of that time, so many distractions came.
Yeah.
I went through a lot with my kids at the time, being a single parent. A lot of single parents go through things like that. But just being the only parent in the household for all their lives, trying to maintain a steady income for the kids, trying to keep food on the table. My parents are the only ones that was helping at the time, and just had a lot going on. Then my fiance at the time passed away 2015. I went into a dark place. So it was a lot of distractions. Like
Yeah.
it was a lot, and then it was a relationship that I went through that was it almost took me out of here, literally.
Yeah.
And so all of these distractions, and so that's a part of my comeback. Just trying to take back what the enemy thought he was gonna steal, but he'll lie. And
Yeah.
so right now it's just like when I put that event on, I say, okay, God, I made some promises to him because of the severity of the things that I've gone through. I asked God, if you keep me in perfect peace, if you bring my mind back to 100%, the way I was before I got into all of that stuff, I promise I will live for you. I promise I will do things the right way. I will say yes. So it was easy for me to say yes, even though I was nervous to this. It was easy for me to say yes to, doing anything in the church. A lot of times we forfeit our blessings and we forfeit things that we could have because we say no. We let fear override. And so also when I was in world, I always say I did it big. Like,
You
I
did.
wanted to do it like go big or go home. So I'm like,
Yes.
okay, God. Now I don't mingle with secular,
Mm-hmm.
So what I say, okay, a lot of people say when you get in the church or when you live for God, it's boring. And I'm like, nah, it's not for me because I wanted to create what I want to be a part of. Since it's not no lane for me right now that I really just feel good in my element. So what I want to do is create a lane that I want to be in. I want to create what I want to be a part of. And also my God put it in my heart to be able to be, we call it kingdom minded, and be, in the church. I want to be able to help wherever there's need, building money. We're doing so much in our church. I mean, when I say so much, we're doing a lot of things in the church. So I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I want God to be proud of what I'm doing. So it's not monetary. This event was fun, but it was, I had a few patches, hard patches, but me just knowing business, like literally from a young girl, I always wrote things down. I always said what I would do. I would always have a vision. Like literally, how you have like daydreams? And literally it took over 20 years for me to start living those daydreams that I was dreaming back then. I would see myself on stage doing different things. I would see myself being active in the community. And it's like that scripture, Ephesians 3:20, I believe. How God, he would do it exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask, think, or imagine. Okay. And so that's what he is doing now. So it's like everything I say, okay, God, I don't want $1 from this. Everything literally that you saw, I actually went into my personal to make it happen. But everything that was made from the vendors, any donations is going straight to the church. Now, that's going to happen several times until I get the goal, until I reach the goal that I want to give to the church. That's as my first fruit, right? But this is going to turn into a business. It's going to be a business. And so I was reminded of Shay Knight. You had her on there, right? So Shay Knight is like pop-up queen. And she said, Sharita, do you remember when you gave me my first opportunity when you did one of your events at your shop, a pop-up? And so they were doing that stuff in Atlanta years ago, but Lakeland wasn't on it then.
Yeah.
And then you see my cousin, that is my family, Prince Hickson.
Yeah.
Shout out to Prince. That's my boy. I love him. I'm so proud of him because he's doing his thing.
Yes,
and he started doing it. And I'm like, okay, cuz. So, it inspired me all over again to want to do it. So after going through all of those things, going through all of that depression, all of that stuff that, I was pretending, very pretentious, going to work, coming on here smiling, acting like everything was all good at night,
We do that
can't
so well,
sleep.
right? We do that so
Yes.
well. Mm,
And it's easy as a hairstylist because we have to talk when we don't want to talk, entertain conversations sometimes that we don't want and
yeah.
we're still dealing with things inside. It can be overstimulated and overwhelming at times, but I'm happy that God has liberated me mentally. And that's what my journey is now. It's like my comeback is I'm taking back everything that the enemy tried to take from me, period.
And you have
Everything.
to. And you have to. I love that. I love the way that you are describing it, the way that you are narrating it. We had Simone. I just wanted to say hey to her. Hey Simone. Simone is always supporting. So hey Simone. Simone does the black market. She does a pop up where it's the black market. It's in Winter Haven, and it's around, I think that's Lake Silver, if I'm not mistaken. But it's like it's like a community beat out day with all of the black vendors and its performances. It's kind of reminiscent of the event that you're doing. They have all kind of performances, and so when it comes up again, I'm gonna send you the flyer.
Okay.
Look, she just said she wants you to come. So yes,
Let me
so
know. Okay.
we will link y'all together.
Okay.
We will definitely link you guys together. And that just reminded me, oh my gosh, when I was talking to Demetrius, because you said that you are coming back for, everything that the enemy took for you. And I do want you to get into that, but I don't want to skate over how your event just blessed me, and because I'm getting ready for my 4-year podcast anniversary live show. And I'm like, God, like 4 is symbolic of completion, and it of balance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been looking at, just the meaning behind the number 4, and then just kind of trying to really hone into, okay, what was the purpose? Like, go back to the roots. Like, why did you start this? Because when you get to a certain point of
Mm-hmm.
doing of anything, you feel like
Right.
it has to be bigger and better. Like how you said, this is just like the kind of like the precursor to where you really want it to go. Like, it's going to elevate. So it's like, once you do it this year, then you do it that year, then you do it this year. Every year, the round goes higher, right? And
Right.
so
Right.
it's like, Demetrius, actually, he pulled me to the side and we were just talking. And God has a funny way of just validating us, like when we get that doubt in our brains. And he was just like, Jazz, like, do you really realize what you're doing with your platform? And I was like, you know it's so tough because sometimes you just revel in the fact that it hasn't hit how you want it to hit. But then when you
Right.
hear statistics, you may even hear statistics, and you probably can give us those statistics when it comes to, you owning your own salon, like how long that
Right.
will take for you to actually turn that profit like you want. Like, everybody's not going to be one of these celebrity hairstylists right away, or the ones
Right.
who are influencers right away. It takes
Right.
work. And I've just been like honing in on that because I've seen people who have started their podcast, and I'm just like
Mm-hmm.
so into like Nene Leak's podcast right now. Like, I just really like how she just came out the gate, and she's
Yeah.
just really making a name for herself. But that came with a whole lot of work. It's
Yeah.
not like Nene just showed up one day and she's like,
Right.
everybody loves me or whatever. I have enough followings. Like, it took work, starting
Yep.
way before Housewives of Atlanta. And so, like, even with podcasts, and a lot of people want to have their own podcast, but if they knew that really a podcast doesn't pop off until its 5th year, even if you are
Yep.
really famous, or I would say, unless you already are
Right.
famous. It
Right.
takes 5 to 7 years for you to really pop off in podcast land. And so Demetrius was just like, but you are connecting the community. He was like, you have connected so many different people with your podcast, Jazz. And he was just like, I just find that amazing. And I sat back and I watched that. And just like how now you and Simone pretty much are connected, because I know a little bit about you, and I know a
Right.
little bit about Simone, and the person that I know that you two are, I know that something great is going to come out of that. So it's just like, God is like, listen, I'm going to show it to you real quick now. Now
You need a
follow me. Watch what I'm
consulting
doing.
business, girl.
Listen, just like follow what I'm doing. And then even with your quick yes, because listen, I pitched somebody being on my podcast. I gave them this long, spiel, da 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 da. And you know what I did? I watched that
What?
person look right dead at my pitch to them, because if you inbox somebody, you can see when they
You
see
see
it.
it? Right,
You
right.
can see when they see it. And
Yes.
so right now I'm just on red right now. So I was like, that's
Right.
interesting. I was like,
Yeah.
that's interesting, but that's what I needed. And then here you are
Yeah.
in your marvelous glory. Yes, just like that.
God be the glory, girl.
And it's because you're supposed to be here. So it's just like, see, this is what I'm talking about. And so I know it was difficult. I
Mm-hmm.
know that weather was playing with you. I know the weather
Girl,
was like, I know the weather was playing with you that day. Cause I was just
listen.
like, what is this weather doing? Like, cause I had my day planned. I was gonna go to my son's basketball game. And then from the basketball game, I was gonna shoot right to your event. And then after your
Uh-huh.
event, I was gonna go straight to the hospital, right? And so I'm
Right.
like, oh my gosh, like in my brain, I was just like, I said I was gonna come. And I try to be a person of my word. So I was like, even if I stay for 5 minutes, I'm gonna
Right.
make sure I lock eyes with her. I'm gonna make sure I give her a hug and just assure
Oh.
her that this was supposed to happen. So I'm driving in the rain and it's sprinkling. I don't got no umbrella. I don't have no hat. I was just like, I'm
Right.
gonna still go say hey. And I promise you, by the time I made it to that parking lot, and I was so glad when you came on and you were like, you were pushing it back to 1 o'clock. It's
Yeah.
like when I say the sky just opened up, and I was
Girl.
like, it was just like confirmation. It was just like, this woman had a purpose. She wanted to do this. And I was like, the enemy is so busy. Like, this is something that's glorifying God. This is something that's bringing the community together. And it's
Yes.
just looking all bleak. But then it's just
Yes.
like when it was showtime, it was showtime. And
Yes.
honey, I let out my chair. I went and bought about 4, 5, 6 things from the vendors. And I had me. I had me
Relaxing,
a
right?
grandiose time. I heard me some
Right.
Tremaine. And honey, I love
Yes.
Tremaine. Tremaine is gonna do it every
You
single time.
time.
And
Yes.
I was just like, and so here's what you don't know about that. My brother is actually in the hospital right now. And he's actually on life support right now. And I was just like, I need an outlet, right? I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
need an outlet. But he's now from that moment, from when I went to your event to
Right.
today. Oh my
Right.
God, he has made so many like he's coming out of it, right? Where
Thank
I was
you,
just like, I've never
Jesus.
seen anybody like that before. Like,
Right.
what the heck is going on? It was just something that was just like, you cannot, how is this happening, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
one of my line sisters, we were on the phone, and because I was like, I can't even escape this. This was the day before your event. I was like, sis, I was
Right.
like, I really realize what I'm doing. I'm running away. Like I'm avoiding this. Like I'm running away. And I was
Right.
like, sis, I was in that parking lot and I really couldn't even move my car. I was like, because we were supposed to go out that night. And I
Right.
was like,
Right.
sis, I was like, I gotta be human right now. And I was like, I
Right.
don't know what to do. I was like, I
Right.
cannot do anything. I was like, but God is telling me that you cannot run from this. Like, don't you? It's happening. Like, don't run from
Right.
it, right? And she
Mm-hmm.
texted me that night, but I was asleep, and she was like, late in the midnight hour, God is gonna turn it around. Like she said that.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, when they started singing that at your event, I was just like, oh Lord, just I was like,
They did
just
sing
go and
that.
give me confirmation, Jesus. And it's like from
Right.
that point on, it's like he's been steadily making strides. Like I said, he's coming out of it. But it was just like I was supposed to be at that event at that time. And I think when we are doing
Mhm.
events, when we are trying to be obedient to God, I think it
Right.
is only fair. I'm only talking so much because I think it is just only
That's
fair that
okay.
you hear that at least one person, I know you've heard it from other people, but you hear at least one person
Mm-hmm.
telling you that they needed your event that day, that they needed that event. So I just say thank you so much for being obedient. Thank you so much for being a bright light at that event, because you smiled the whole time. You were high energy. It was just like, yes, like this is happening because it's supposed to happen. So thank you so much, sis, because I thoroughly enjoyed myself. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. To God be all of the glory, because what you didn't know is that I was nervous the whole time.
Yeah.
But again, just a part of my career, our careers, we have to put on that, our game face,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always say, listen, I always do things anyway because I don't want to give myself a chance to talk myself out of it. So it's like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then by the time I do it, hey, it's done now. I can't talk
Yeah.
myself out. Now we have to deal with the situation at hand. So you, I'm so happy to see that you were there. I really wasn't paying attention to everybody because I was like kind of wearing all of the hats.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
felt like I was like, I don't want nobody to feel like I'm ignoring them, God. But I was limited to my help at the time, but I was determined. The enemy
Yes.
was not going to win with that weather. Honey, it was a lot of prayers going up as well.
Yes.
And God knew my heart. I'm like, Lord, please just let this happen, because praise and worship to me is very important. You know why I
Yes.
say it's because I remember when I was in those dark places and I couldn't even pray. I couldn't even get a word out of my mouth. But you know what? You know how it is when I don't know if you've ever gone through anxiety or anything, but anxiety for me, at night I used to get in my car and I used to just ride until I couldn't ride anymore, until I felt tired enough to go in the house and go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I would listen to worship. And sometimes that warfare is so high. So, he tries to block your prayers. But one thing, I used to make up songs and
Yeah.
just say, God, I thank you. Lord, I thank you. My provider, just saying stuff,
Yeah.
just whatever I can grab on and remember. That's why it's so good to read your words sometime, because sometimes you can't remember it, but when it's necessary, it's going to come up and out you. So praise and worship got me through so many obstacles, and it just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Everybody might can't connect on secular music, but
Mhm.
everybody mostly can connect on gospel. So,
Yeah.
and in a time that we're living in now, everybody needs something like this.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
What was one thing that, like, when you looked around at the audience, or you, like, was it one point that you just stood back and said, wow, like, look what God has done? Or what did you see, like, from your vantage point, because you're on the stage, you're hosting, and you did a fantastic job hosting, by the way. And so what is it that you saw? Like, what was it, something that you just felt like, wow?
Okay, well, since you brought that up, let's get this out the way first. I saw you out there with your chair at the host, and I got intimidated, so I wanted to be like a drill and drill myself in the ground. Okay, that's the first thing. I was like, Lord, if I had enough money to pay this girl, I would have just had. I tried to get anybody to take that from me. You know how I'm like, Lord, take it, but I was like, okay, this is what
You
I
did
had to do. This
did
is
it.
what my budget consists of. So I had
I
to,
said,
girl.
this is what my budget consists.
So I say, listen, and that's how it be,
Yeah.
and see, people think that when they see you on social media that you just got it together, and no,
Yeah.
it's not like that all the time. Like, and so when I look, there was a time I got a moment to sit for maybe, I think I was behind stage speaking with Hugh Entertainment, the guy that was doing the DJing, because the enemy didn't like that. It was
You like,
something wrong with the sound. You remember that?
right,
It took a minute for the
right.
sound to get together. And so that kind of distracted me. And I was like, oh Lord. And I just was feeling bad, because I'm like, I hope my artists are okay. But because that's their area of expertise,
Yeah.
they say, okay, that's nothing. This happens
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yes.
So I did look around and I was just like, Lord, I thank you. You're so
Yeah.
wonderful. Like, for this to be my first event, of course, I always think really big in my mind. I think that gets me in trouble a lot. So I did want to see everything filled up out there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was so proud of myself, and I was happy because I'm like, this is my first one. And
Yeah.
it was just all love. If it
It's
wasn't even
alive.
about the right, it was love out there. Everybody was no arguing, no backbiting, no
Yeah,
nothing. It was the atmosphere was just perfect. It was just
absolutely.
the weather was beautiful. You didn't even have to squint from the sun. It was
Yeah,
amazing. And
yeah,
I think I was still the next day, I was just like in awe. Like today I'm okay, but I was still on the high up
yeah,
until yesterday. And I was like, Lord, I thank you because again, God will do exceedingly abundantly above all you can think. Even in your mind, you don't even have to get it out your mouth, but you think it. And and when you speak it, you know, your words carry weight. And I used to always say, no, this is gonna happen. This gonna
yes.
happen. So you be encouraged too, because what you're doing is amazing.
Thank
And you
you.
are, God gives us, I believe, everybody a platform. So it's like, okay, if you're blessed with a platform, what are you going to do for it?
Right, right.
What are you going to do on it? Because this is how I think. With the platform that I have, I want to make sure that I compel somebody to Christ. I want to make sure I just put a smile on somebody's face, something good.
Yeah.
Because it can be one thing that you do negative or bad, because people are always watching you. Like even in the salon,
Listen.
they
Whoo.
say, I watched you for like 4 years before I sat in your chair. I watched you and I'm like, what? Like, but people watch you.
Yes,
And
they.
this instance, you have haters. And
Yeah,
so be encouraged because, and don't get offended when people don't want to be a part of your good thing,
yeah,
because it's not for them to be there. And
yeah,
sometimes God is that no is your protection. And I know you know that already.
yeah.
And
Yes,
so you
yeah,
got this, girl. I know
yeah.
you got this. And
Thank
you're doing
you.
a great job.
Thank you. You got this too, sis. Okay. Listen, you have done something that I've always wanted to do. Like I've always wanted to like do an outside concert. Like I have, like how you said you think big. I have my
Yes,
sights on a place. And I know
right.
somebody at that place. I'm just like, all right, God,
You,
tell me when I need to move.
you
But
better do
I
it.
just want to have an outdoor concert where it's just like a good
Yes,
vibe, good people.
right.
I love me some music. I
Do
love me
it.
some music. So, I just it's coming. One of
It's
these
coming.
old good fine days is coming. But you've already
Right.
done it.
You wrote it
You know
down. Right?
what
Huh?
I'm saying? I said,
What
but
you
see,
say?
you've already done it. Like you got that under your belt. You can say you've already done it.
Well, yeah, I have.
Yes.
It's just like you say, it's got to be better and better. But yes, I have done it. Thank God it's out
Yes.
the way. So at least yes, you're right. At least I can say that I have done it. Because I
Right.
was like, Lord, but like you said something, just being creative and just trying to make sure that, like, it's 4 years for you. So it's like, okay, what can I do different? What can
Yeah.
and it's like at the last minute, sometimes God just give you just what you need, or he'll
Yeah.
send somebody your way to make it different. Like, and sometimes we can't even be distracted with that because, you know, people are all over the place and people are going to go and participate with what they want to participate
Right.
to with or
Right.
to. And so it's just going to be for that particular time. The person is going to get what they need. People are going to be in your life at the time that they need to be.
Yeah.
It's always like that. I've been doing this for so
That
many years
timing.
and I've seen God
Yeah.
do it so many different ways,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
It'll happen. It will. And I truly believe that. Like you are really speaking on something that I truly do believe. And so like
Right,
you know, with your event, anything that we do, the right people are the right people. Like those were
right.
the people that you needed at that particular time. Like that's just it. And then you
That's
keep
it.
keep moving. So yeah. So we'll see it next year, bigger
Okay,
and
girl. And
better.
I'll be there if you ever need me for anything. I will definitely be there. If you need anything, just let
Thank
me
you.
know.
I'm gonna have you
You're
come up there and
welcome.
sing one of them songs. Go on and make up you a song on the no, stop.
Y'all pray for my voice now. I don't know, but I'll do it now. It might not be what you looking for, but I'll surely give it.
It might
I'll
not be
give
what
it to
you
you now.
Yeah. Listen, I will, and I do. I appreciate it because you are a supporter. Like you supported our Girls Leave a Mark gala that we had, our glam gala, the Mamas Mix and Mingle, and so
Mhm.
just thank you for that. Like I am going to pour a blessing into your organization as well. I wanted to
put the link here so people can make a donation.
Right.
So I want you to make a donation to Total Perfection Outreach Inc. The Cash App is there. The total, did I do it right? The Total P Outreach.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Oh,
so
thank
Total.
you. I didn't even notice that. Thank you.
Oh no, that's all. You're
And you
good.
just
So
noticed
Total.
that.
So Total P Outreach, Cash App. Tell us about the organization before we get
Okay.
into your comeback. But I want you to definitely, because I don't want to leave this stone unturned. So tell us
Okay.
about Total Perfection Outreach Inc. What do you do? And then where the proceeds go to.
Okay. So Total P Outreach was birthed because of domestic violence. I was in a 12-year domestic violence relationship when I was much younger. And I went through a lot of different things in that relationship. I went through every abuse you can think of. And when that happened to me, I just looked at it, shaped my view of things differently. And I started noticing with my kids because at the time I really wasn't focused on my kids. I was a young mother. And I didn't notice that they were really going through as much as they were going through.
Yeah.
One of my daughters used to wet the bed repetitively. And she used to have sores on her a lot. All that
Mhm.
stuff came from stress and fear.
Yeah.
And I put my kids in a real tough situation to where they really couldn't protect their mom nor themselves. So, and they're going to school like this. It was bad.
Yeah.
So that was birthed from a situation with that and my kids that went through it as well. And after I got out of that situation, I started to help people in the same situation that I was in by doing their hair. All of that stuff works hand in hand. So it's like I wanted to do their hair. Like, okay, what else could I do? I don't really have. And sometimes when we start things, we don't really think it all the way completely through. So I'm like, okay, God, now that I have it, what am I gonna do with this? I don't know nothing about no nonprofit. I would
Yeah.
ask people, they would brush me off, and pretty much you have to get it from the mud.
Yes, you
You
do.
just gotta get
Yes.
it from the mud because it's cutthroat around here. Like ain't nobody helping nobody. I'm like, okay, God. So
Crazy.
when I would have monies here and there, I would just do something like, donate money to the person, do it on the back end like that. So my first event was down in Mons Park, downtown Lakeland. And that's the first time I saw Meat. He came to my event. Always a supporter. That was like in 2017. Um, we had Miss Lisa Sunshine there. She was my speaker there. And I didn't know her. She just really made herself available. She seen the need, and her story, of course. I think you do. You?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
And,
Mhm.
and so, it was just she helped me so much, and I appreciate her for that. But we had our event down there. So at the time, I wanted people to heal first of all physically. I wanted them to be able to have an escape plan to get out. I wanted them to have prayer,
Yeah.
spiritual help. I wanted them to for mental illness and mental depression. So I partnered up with Peace River. I wanted them to have a full makeover. So of course, TP Hair Lounge was, you know what I'm saying, on
Yeah.
deck. So it was just like this full makeover from the inside out. That was my vision. And so now, and then we've done parades and we've done like small events, but nothing, pretty much after that. But when this comeback came, I'm like, okay, I got all this stuff written down. These are all in my Right Division, Make It Plain. And it
Yeah.
just started happening. Like, it's like God gave me a second chance to do everything over. And
Mhm.
so that's what happened. So now I say, okay, I need monies to run this. I can't do everything from up under
Right.
Total Perfections.
Right.
So I need people to actively send me $1, 2, 5, send me $1,000. Like it's some people that really want to get rid of some money and they don't know what to do with it. Help us,
Absolutely.
because when you do that, guess what we're going to do? We're going to be able to provide down payments for people to get in their places. We're going to be able to pay light bills. We're going to be able to make somebody's, have gifts for their children, school, back to school, clothes, items, grocery, things of that nature. And
Yeah.
that's on the low end. It's my goal to have a house for them to be able to come in there, stay for a certain amount of time, 6 months, and then hook them up with different people to make them
Mhm.
successful for the world.
I
That
like
is
that.
my goal.
I love
And
that.
so I'm looking for my faith say somebody's going to come and put some keys in my hand and say, hey, I want to donate this to TP Outreach.
Yeah.
And this is the house. This is the first starter house. You know, I'm looking for God to bless me like that. Because when we think about everything that we want to do, our monies don't match that.
Yeah.
So you got to have some faith or a strong
Yeah.
talk game to be able to get
Listen,
what you need. And so
the right
that's what it
resources and using
is.
them effectively. Listen.
Right. That's
Yeah.
what networking is. That's why your podcast come in as well. You
Yeah.
know, and showing up to other people's events and
Yeah.
just being resourceful, and because in return you're gonna get that same thing back. You can't
Yeah.
beat God given. That's
That's
why
true.
when I look at my business, and this is not nothing to push me up. This is I'm bragging on God now.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was nobody but him, because it was times when I didn't have a dollar. I
Yeah.
didn't have gas money to even get to the shop to make some more money. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? And because it was just the Lord, like how it was just orchestrated. It was just people was put in my. I've had people to call me and say, God told me to do this for you and pay my rent, like out of the blue. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I said all that to say this. When your heart is pure and you don't have a motive, and your heart is, because some people do
Yeah.
things with intent to get they're just not right all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes
They
you
come with
see
a
that, but you
plan.
got to learn, you
They
know,
come with a
and
plan.
sometimes I have to act like I don't see what I actually see. I'm like, okay, all right. But because I make myself pray for
Yeah.
people like that. And God has kept my business afloat for all these years. It was hard, Jazz. I
I
wasn't
believe
doing it
you.
like that. I'm
I
not no
believe
celebrity stylist.
you. I believe
you
you.
know?
But I will tell you, honey, the people that I see that you do, it's not like you can't get there. Not that,
Yeah.
that wasn't like a
Yeah.
goal. I'm not saying that that's your
Right.
goal at all.
Right.
But let me tell
Right.
you, somebody's hair that I did not know you did. And then when I found
Hmm.
out it was you, I was like, good Lord, Miss Mona. Miss
Oh,
Mona.
she was out there. That's my
I,
girl.
when
That's
I
my
say
sister.
Mona's hair, oh my gosh, that short dude. I'm like, who is doing her hair? And I'm like,
Yeah.
right after I met you with
Right.
Prince, that's when I found out that you were doing her hair, and I was like, "Come on," because I was like, "She about to make me cut all of my hair off just so I can go to her."
Don't do it, sis. Just on the wig.
I
Your hair
just
is
said,
the glory. I don't even cut. I cut everybody else's hair because that's one of my specialties.
yeah,
But guess what? I don't even cut my own ends. I don't cut my ends. I don't cut
really,
my hair.
really
If I want
weird.
to wear I don't. I just wear. I love short hair. I like the
Yeah,
way it looks, but I love long hair.
yeah, and see, I'm
Yeah.
kind of going through that struggle because like. I used to be, that's all I used to wear was a short haircut. Like I was like, I could show you some pictures. Like when I tell people that, they're like, what? And I'm like,
Really?
yeah, like my hair was honey blonde and it was short. I had a short haircut for so long. Like probably all throughout my 20s, I had a short haircut.
You gotta post that on your stories or something, so you can see what you was working with.
Like it was, I think it was my senior year of probably my junior or my senior year of college was when I cut my hair and then I rolled out. I had a short haircut in high school too, but like I used to wear it long, like this, like my hair was this, it was jet black, but then after
Uh-huh.
that,
Uh-huh.
short
I never
haircuts.
had my hair cut ever.
I
Never.
love it. Well, and it was a pixie cut too. It was short,
Now
short.
I wear short cuts with my pixie weaves now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I used to. But yeah,
I
gotta
heard you
post it.
say several things that you said that were reminiscent from your comeback. I heard you say that you were a single mom,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just just with that, because I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to just have you really kind of narrate how did you get
Okay.
yourself through that,
Yeah.
because there are so many people, and then it's I don't know if people do this with a lot of things, but when people say that they've gone through a struggle or they've gone through
Right.
difficulties, it's
Right.
so it's so demeaning to me when people try to like tear it. Like, well,
Right.
you're not a single mom. Listen.
Right.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Now, I may not have it as bad as the next female, but there is no male in my household.
Right.
Okay. And I'm
Right.
raising
Right.
2 boys. And
Yep.
when you do not have that slated as something that you was gonna check, like I want to be a single mom, raising 2 boys in my house
Right.
by myself. Check. That is a goal. That was not my goal. I came from a
Right.
two-parent household. And when I say that that thing hit me like I was the biggest failure in my family, it
Ooh,
does not matter. It does not matter, you know, and because sometimes people see what the other parent does and you think that you have it like that. No, I'm writing emails and letters right now about, can you please send such and such? Why am I doing that? So,
yeah.
it is I feel like when people go through things, it's not something that you can tear, and I don't feel like it's something that you can just be like, oh, you don't expect for somebody to do something. No, you as a mother, because you know how hard it is. You know how hard it is
Right.
when you are, even if you are the person who's not doing it totally alone, because I am
Right.
not doing it totally alone at all. My
Yeah.
kids are with their father right now, but that doesn't
Right.
mean that I'm not struggling or find it difficult in other areas. That's not
Right.
what that means at all. And so
Right.
when I hear, women who are single moms, because I think eventually I am going to do something for single moms, because even as a
Mm-hmm.
single mom who does have help,
Mm-hmm.
um, it is hard. It is
Right.
hard when you don't have that man or a man figure in the house 24/7. It is so difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's hard. And we
Mhm.
sometimes, women condition themselves to be like these. We're so conditioned to just say, well, if somebody doesn't do it for you, you do it for yourself. You do it, you make sure you and your kids are fine. And it's like some days you're like, but why do I have to? Why do I have to do it when I'm not
Right.
the only person that created them? Like, why is that burden? It's not even a burden, but it is. It's like, why is that on me? So
Right.
you started off by saying that that was a part of your comeback story. And so, Sharita, like,
Mm-hmm.
what did that take you through?
Me
Or
being a single
how do you feel
parent,
like you even made a comeback from that?
from as far as being a single parent and just
A
kind of
single
like going through
parent,
that.
and then just like your whole story, because you don't have to just focus on the single parent issue. But when you said that, my antennas was like,
I got
my,
you.
yeah, my antennas went way up with that.
So I'm just gonna say it like this. I'm gonna take y'all back to when I was younger. I come from a 2-parent household as well. Good parents, hardworking father,
Yeah,
hardworking mom. She didn't really have to work a whole lot though, because my dad held everything down. He was a
yeah,
really good provider, but my daddy
yeah.
was always working, and so I didn't have a lot of the intimate times with him.
Mhm.
And I don't even think that to be honest with you, you don't miss what you never had. I didn't even know it was a such thing of an intimate moment with a father or something like that. I just didn't know. Very green, come from a spiritual background. So at the time, my mommy was going through menopause when I was younger. So I was like, that's where all my anxiety started. I ain't gonna lie, because it was just like fussing and all of that stuff. And I was just real nervous all the time as a young girl. So
Yeah.
I put in my mind that I was going to save my money. And at the age of 16, I started buying things at the dollar store. You remember you used to have your sunflower bathroom
Sunflower
sets and all of
seeds,
this stuff.
yeah. Do
So
you hear
this
me with
is
my greeting behind? I'm talking about sunflower seeds. Lord Jesus.
but I know what you meant though.
What? Okay. Girl, just
and,
greeting for no reason. Okay, I'm sorry.
and so like I used to one week I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get
Yeah,
my bathroom stuff, I'm gonna do this and that. And I had it in my closet.
yeah.
And one day she came in there, she found it. And I had it in my mind that I was gonna move. And by
Mhm.
that time I actually got pregnant to where I could go and fill out an application for a project. And so I moved out at the age of 18
Mhm.
and I was gone. And that's when the hard part of my life started happening. Like I didn't have to move out. That was
Yeah.
just me wanting
Mhm.
to be on my
Mhm.
own. And so I realized real quick that, you know, once you get pregnant, that does not keep a man.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what I did good, it just didn't do it. My first baby's father, he was mentally ill. So
Mhm.
he got a hold something. I really don't know the whole story of what happened for his mental illness, but long story less long, he was dealing with in his mind. So we never did get it. He didn't have a fair chance to show me that he could be a good father. Because at the age of 19, he was dealing with mental illness.
Yeah.
And he's deceased now. So that was that. So at that time, I was in a dark place because, this was my first baby daddy. You think you love him, and I did. Cared a lot about him. And it was like death to me. Because he was like, one day he left the house to go to work, and he came back a different person, literally just like that.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't really understand what demons are and spiritual warfare is, but that's what he was dealing with. And so I was young. I didn't understand what that stuff was. I didn't know about any of that. I remember one time he was kind of getting on his knees and he was crawling to me, acting like a cat or a snake or something. And I was holding my daughter in my hand, and I was just like praying on the inside, like Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Yeah.
And so I remember, just getting nervous. I'm talking to my mom at the time, and I'm like, Mom, I don't know what this is, da 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 da. And when you're coming from a religious background, a spiritual background, we use praying oil, anointing oil. So I called myself like touching my hands with it because I needed it on my hands because in my mind, like, this is my protection, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's not the oil. It's the power of God that's powerful. So, as he came to me, I touched him in a way like I was just kind of embracing him, and to say, and I didn't even get a chance to touch him with it because he jumped and he said, "What the blank was that?" Like he felt something hot. And it scared me, and then when he did that, I heard something within me say, I got you now. So that was the first, that was the first step of me going through spiritual warfare, having to pray and to fight with whatever he was dealing with. And because at the time I wasn't saved, I wasn't filled with the Holy Ghost. So my vessel was not filled at the time. So I had exposed myself to that soul tie, that spiritual thing that he had going on. So I was fearful of him. And so I kind of just pushed him away, cold turkey. And in his mind, it was like, okay, why are you pushing me away? Because he would have his good days and his bad days. So I went through a lot with that. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Long
that
story
had to be
long.
traumatic. Like that would freak me out.
It was traumatic. It was when I tell you, he would come back, and it was so sad. I had to ask God to, and out of everybody, that touches me because he was mentally ill, and he didn't understand what was going on with him. And he would come knocking on my windows at night because that was his home at the time, and wanting to get in, and I wouldn't let him in. I would call the police because I was afraid of what was going on. I didn't know.
Right.
And so we end up, I forced him out of my life. Because I didn't understand it. And so those are my first two children's fathers. So it was kind of like I started to entertain people that I know that I shouldn't have entertained just for protection.
Yeah.
Just almost like those gang members. They get into gangs for protection or just because they want to be a part of something. I started having entertaining guys that I really knew better. I knew not to entertain it, but I just needed somebody around me at all times because I was afraid of what I was doing. And it's so important for women to not to accept anything or not to show your brokenness. It's good for us to heal. I should have went to another situation. I should have healed because a broken man sees a broken woman. It's almost like you on the radar at that time. And I started attracting broken people.
And you become
right. And that's what happened. So this introduced my 12-year abuser in my life. And so after that, I was, this man used to, get on me real good. Used to beat me all the time. The people around him, like the guys that was around him, they would never help me. Nobody would call the police. I'm small, petite woman.
Yes, I was going to say, you are You are tiny. Yeah.
This man used to beat me. I remember one time I had a hematoma. The doctor called it a hematoma. It was a little bit away from my temple, and I could have killed me that time.
Hmm.
I've had fractured ribs, dislocated collarbones. Um, he used to drag me on, all kind of different degrading things in front of my children, and would take plates of food and just dump it all in my face and take the drinks and pour it all on my head. Just horrible, right?
Hmm.
And, and so after being in a situation like that, it's like God freed me from that. But it's almost like I could never get any help for my children, right? And at the time I was operating in pride.
Yeah.
Sometimes we say, I don't need money from a man. I'm not gonna put my kids' fathers on child support. That was the dumbest thing that I ever could have said
Say that. Say that.
because
Say that really loud. Say that. Say that
right.
to me.
I'm not I'm
Say
not
that
gonna
to
put
me.
my yeah, that's crazy for me to say that because sometimes we handicap our baby's fathers.
Hmm.
Sometimes they can't show up like a man because, we have to put them in a position to be able to do it, whether it means that they have to go to jail to learn a lesson or not. Because we didn't make these kids by ourselves and they should, take care of their kids. It's like an infidel. That's what the Bible says. If you don't take care of your kids, you're worse than an infidel.
Yeah.
And so I had to, I ain't have those late night what it come through ministries where you can come through at nighttime.
Yeah.
And it's like they want you to sleep with them just to take care of your kids. And
Yeah.
no. And so I put it in my mind that I wasn't gonna do it. I was gonna work hard. I was gonna stay up late nights doing hair all night, doing
Because that's what you're
specials.
supposed to do. That's what
What?
society tells us that we're supposed to do. If he don't do it, sis, then you do it. You
Right.
supposed to do it.
And wrong.
And wrong.
Absolutely wrong.
And
And
wrong.
I wasted so many of my years doing stupid things like that, but I'm so happy. I had to go through that for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it took a lot of my time, but just me going into, because this will be an all day long thing if I tell you my whole story, but just know that after that, the same type of men follow that. And I'm like, what is it with me? I'm a good girl. I'm a loving person. I'm a giver. But that's what they were attracted to. And
Yeah.
one day I was sitting to myself, and it's like I was thinking, I was like, you know what? I noticed by observation that the men in my life, their mothers were horrible in their lives. And
Yeah.
because of the nurturing spirit that I had, that's what they were attracted to. So it's almost like they liked that part of me. But at the same time, that wasn't enough. They wanted like girls that dogged them out, like their mothers. But it's like they needed something from me, which was the nurturing part. But they was more attracted to the women that was like wild and dressed half
Yeah.
naked and just they wanted that because I know it's like spicy
Ooh.
to them, and I'm like, and so it made my self esteem at the time when I didn't know what I was and who I was and whose I was. I was like, okay. And so now I'm competing, you know, just competing on the back end with these women, you know?
Rita, I don't know how you finna take this, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, you have no choice but to believe it because I'm not gonna make this up, right? I promise you, on my way to your event, Brandy
Uh-huh.
Harvey has a podcast. It's like
Uh-huh.
it's the Vault podcast, and she had a mental health therapist on her show, and he talked about the very thing that you just said. Like he talked
Mhm.
about like the types of men that women attract. And he talked about his experience with, when men don't get something from their mother, they turn that hostility over to the woman that they're with, even when that woman is the most loving woman, because it's the kid in them. Whatever they needed as a kid, they are still craving that. And when they are not getting that from this woman, like the women in their lives, they see their mothers is what they see. And it is always like this internal kid that's always craving for something. And it's like,
Right.
it is like almost to the T, exactly what you just stated is what he stated. And I was listening to that podcast episode. I'm gonna send it to you. I was listening to that
Please
podcast episode
do.
on my way to your event, not knowing that this was going to be a part of your comeback story whatsoever. I was just
Yes.
intrigued because I was getting this game from a man. And I feel like when a man
Right.
speaks on it, it's like, ooh, who I was just like the whole ride there. I'm like, my God,
Yes.
I'm just, and then it's like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what you're talking about. So, okay, that's a connection there.
And,
So,
and so another thing is my son taught me it just by, just being my son. Like, cause
yeah,
he's a male, and I watched the way he was with women. And I watched the way I was with him when he was younger and what he was exposed to. And so I'm like, well, okay. So it's like I was just learning these things by the behavior of my son. And just, I feel like the Holy Spirit was teaching me then. Like, and I'm like, okay. And so now, like, how do I get out of this cycle? Like, how do I get out of this cycle? Because I can't change me, God. I'm still going to be who I am. It's
yeah,
just with the wrong men. Okay.
yeah,
So after all of these relationships, failed relationships, they were all like that. I can't even tell you. And so now that I'm older, much older, and I'm not married either, sis. So, and
mhm,
honestly, I'm content now. But then I used to feel so bad because I'm like, I'm 45 years old and I'm still not married. But even then, even with my fiance, and I pray that whoever is watching that's a part of him does not take this wrong, but this is my story and I have to tell it.
yeah,
Even when it came down to him, I was praying, and God knows the sincerity of my heart. I
yeah,
said, Lord, if I don't need to marry him either, show me. Do something, God. I need you to show me because I don't want to be connected to nothing and nobody that is gonna, because I believe in to death do us part. Literally. I'm not getting married again.
yeah,
And so then I was taking everything from these guys, because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't even know. It's almost then you're so broken, you just accept who accepts you. And that's
mhm,
it, the bare minimums. But now I feel like dating after 40 for real is a real thing because it's like now people say you're
woo,
set in your ways, but I'm not taking anything. But
mm,
I'm open. I'm soft. I'm loving. I'm open to it. But you gotta be a man that's for me, that's from God. Okay.
yeah,
I'm not falling for the okie doke. So now when I see, it's like when you go through something and you actually learn from it, it's like these people think they're walking around invisible, but you can see them from the rooter to the tip. You can see everything,
yeah.
even when they come with their charming and all. Sir, I'm gonna be nice to you and I'm gonna be kind. I'm gonna be ladylike, but going on somewhere.
But
Please and
sir,
thank you.
sir, listen, Serena, when I hit you with that, sir,
They
go.
don't like that.
Listen here, sir.
Right,
Listen here, sir. I
right,
gave. Look, that chance has been given to somebody
right,
else, sir. We
right.
do something else, sir.
Put back in.
Please and thank you, please,
And
sir.
so I want to be married. I'm not bitter from that.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm thankful for because a lot of women, you know, they become bitter.
yeah,
Yes, I went through situations where I was angry and we have to go through all those emotions.
yes.
But guess what? Do you not know I still pray for all of them?
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Mm.
know now I say, Lord, show me how to love them your way without, having boundaries. Show me how to love them enough to pray for them. Show me how to not to be cordial with them. Because I live for God. So if I'm gonna win them or even let them, something gotta be different about me.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
in the beginning, it wasn't so genuine. Was praying, but I was backsliding in my mind.
You better
But
listen.
the
Listen.
and so, but now
If we being
it's
real about
authentic.
the situation, and we being real about
Yes.
it.
Listen, I'm telling you, I was back. So I was like with his old ugly stuff, and I was saying all kind of ugly stuff, and like, get out of here. I don't want
May
to talk to your
everything
daddy.
you touch fail. No,
Yeah,
stop.
yeah, and that's real.
Yeah,
And but I'm happy that it didn't last long with me.
yeah,
So I feel good about it, and I'm not bitter.
yeah.
Getting back to the story, just to say this: it was a lot of hard work. I didn't have to, this is an adult conversation. I didn't have to trick for it. I didn't have to prostitute myself. I literally worked hard. I was not making no deals on the side like, if I come in late with you, can you give me $500? No, we wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
God had to show me how to make money from. I used to, at the time when I was in the secular world, I would have what is it called? I don't know, a candy lady / alcohol lady. I was doing all kind of bootlegging.
Yeah.
I was Black and Miles, liquor, all kind of stuff.
Just the one-stop shop. I think you hit something on your volume because I can't hear you anymore. Okay. I can't hear you. I can't hear you anymore. And the reason is because that's what she used to do. That's not what she does right now. That is exactly why. Listen. Can you hear me? You can hear me? Okay. I don't know why I cannot hear you. That is so weird. I don't know why it stopped letting me hear you. What I was going to ask you, are you able to type in the comment section? Okay. No. Let me see. Say something now. So I cannot hear you, but if you can hear me, I wanted to, because I'm going to put the outreach information back on here, but I wanted to ask you, so Sarita, if you'll use that link one more time to come back on, we'll be able to get it. I don't know why it's saying that the host has muted, because I absolutely have not. I did not mute. What I wanted to know from Sharita, because we go through these things and we go through our comebacks, and I wanted to know, what was the lesson? Because when we go through these things, it's really not a why did I go through it? Like, we really have to ask ourselves, like, what did we learn from it? So, can you hear me now? I don't know why it's telling you that I muted. I did not mute anything. I did not. I don't know what is happening, because I did not mute you. I promise you. Try to say something now. Oh, it's not gonna let me hear you. So what I want you to do, Sharita, do me a favor, because this is what I wanted to know. Like, what did you learn from those situations? And when you type it in the comment section, I'm going to read it. So I want to know, a lot of people, they question, they're like, God, why me? Like, why did I do this? And it's, when you go through those situations where you have to make a comeback from it, it's not the reason why you went through it really is the question, like, why did you experience this? And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to learn a lesson from it. So I want to know, just what lesson did you learn from what you've gone through? And so those of you who are listening, if you want to chime in as well, please feel free. Thank you, Bam. I appreciate you saying that this is a great show. I know I want her to come off mute too. I don't know. It's probably my technology, but it's doing something, because on my end it doesn't show that she's muted, and I don't know why it said that. I know that Shonda Nelson, I kept her remark up for a while, because this is very critical. It says, until they are healed, they will bleed over everyone and everything. And that goes for men, and it also goes for women too. So it's like, that's why healing is so critical. Like, we have to make sure that we are healing from things. Above, Pee Wee Callens came on, and I did want to say hi to him, because he was at Sharita's event on last Saturday as well. I'm glad he caught my live because he was like, I'm there. Like, I saw your live and then I'm coming. So I really, really appreciated him doing that. Nico is on. So thank you so much, Nico, for tuning in as well. And so I just, you know how we give the enemy a lot of credit. However, that's what this is, because I'm like, she was getting into the not necessarily to the meat of it, because we had already covered the meat. Thank you, Edwina, for tuning in. Sharita, you got to be locked in with Boss Fest too. Let me see. So this is what Sharita said she learned. She learned not to be disobedient to the voice of God. She learned to forgive and to move on. And she learned to keep pushing. And let me tell you about this. Let me tell you something, because that's critical. That's really, really critical. Forgiveness is something that I really pray for all the time. Like, God, just please let me live, walk, breathe with a forgiving spirit, because I have a good avoidance spirit. Like, in order for me to keep my peace, I will avoid you. I will intentionally avoid you, especially when I know you trying to avoid me, especially if I've been that type of person where I've tried to have open communication with you when you just decide one day, and I'm only talking about one person. So, and if he just so happens to watch this episode, my guy, we used to be like this, like that. And, it just, the goal was the goal. But it's like, just know that I'm praying for, just praying for forgiveness. And definitely in everything that I do, just really trying to pray that I am able to be obedient to God, because we think we know what's best for us. This flesh gets weak. This flesh tells us what we think we should be doing, what feels good to us. And being more obedient to God just feels like, oh, it's so strict over there. Like I can't, like Sharita said in the beginning, I can't have fun over there. Sharita was the life of the party at her event. Do you hear me? Like, that joy that sis had, that was some joy. And I just think that's just an illusion. Like, that's just being afraid. I've just heard, and we hear it. Y'all hear it in church all the time. Like, God will move mountains for you when you just submit to him, when you are just obedient to him, just follow, his will, just try to be closer to him. And I am not telling you this off of somebody who has successfully done it. I am telling you this as someone who struggles with it. But I know that is what's on the other side of it. I struggle with it myself. And so when I say on this podcast that, in order to make a comeback, you really, really have to have God first. You really have to have resources that you use effectively. Your resources are all around you, but you have to use them effectively, and you have to be able to put in the work that is necessary. You have to be able to do that. Like, every single guest on my show proves that. Every single one of them that tells me about their comeback, that's what I'm seeing. Sharita, when I saw her, I was just like, I have got to have her on my show, and I need her on my show at this particular time. And God just lined that thing up. Like, it just really happened that way, because she is a living, walking, breathing testament. Some of you may have found out something about her today that you did not know, but sis is going to continue to go. And I'm going to put her organization back on here, because if it's one thing that I do know that I do with this podcast, I do make connections. I do afford people resources. You may see something with someone that you didn't even know that they were doing. And so if you did not know that she has Total Perfection Outreach, Inc., you do know now. She explained why she does it. She took you through her whole trajectory of her going through domestic violence and how she wants to pour back into the community and into women, children, families who are going through the same thing. Like, sis wants a house. You know how many people are in real estate. You know how many people are into nonprofit giving. I know that you are out there. You are out there. Sarita's resource is out there. And I do know that they're going to watch this podcast. And I want to link you two together. It's not about me. It's not about her. It is about the purpose of what she's doing. You know, she's being obedient to God. And so if you have the resources, if you have it in your power, you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, reach out. And so she's taking donations via Cash App, Total P Outreach. All you have to do is Cash App her, reach out to her. She's such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this hair care game. She helps women with hair loss, men with hair loss. She can cook. Let me tell you, she can cook if you didn't know that she can cook. She has TP Grubs. She has TP Perfection, Outreach Inc. So she is just a wealth of knowledge. And y'all, she is the curator of the 2025 inaugural Gospel Fest. All right. So it is going to be bigger and better every single year. I am so sorry that you are muted now. And thank you so much, Sharita, for your private messages that you are sending me. I truly want you to win. I thank God that we did meet. Shout out to Prince for, holding that event where we actually met. We met years ago. So it's just like, this is coming like a full circle moment. And so I truly appreciate you. I truly appreciate your vulnerability. I appreciate your transparency on this podcast because it is treated so delicately when it comes to me, because I know that there are so many people out there who, if they haven't gone through what you've gone through, they definitely can resonate with what you've shared. And so although your voice is not here, your voice has been on this podcast. You have said what God wanted you to say. You have touched and reached who he wanted you to reach at this particular time. And I appreciate your time. Go love on your parents. Go love on your kids. They have a mom to be so proud of. And I'm just going to say, I know a good mother when I see a good mother. And you, ma'am, are a good mother. You have your daughters who are really looking at what you are doing. You have your daughter that gave of her time with the makeup because she was so fabulous with the makeup on the ones and twos on the beach. She was amazing. So that comes from her watching you. That comes from her having that entrepreneurial spirit, just like her mama. I watched how they were on you at that event. Like they were there to catch whatever needed to be done for you. That's such a testament to a great mother. That just really is. That just shows that like they're looking out for you. They're watching you and they're your protectors. And so that is of God as well. Like that's a true blessing when you have your kids being your writers. And so rightfully so. Continue in excellence in all that you do. And you always have a home here at the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. Thank you so much. And my apologies for this sound. I don't know what just happened. I don't know if it just sounds me out after an hour. I don't know. It never does that. But we've been going for an hour and 22 minutes, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Make sure that you share this podcast episode. This has been episode 154 of the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. You can catch this on Facebook, IG, and on YouTube. I really want to grow my YouTube channel, so if you can head over there and subscribe, rewatch, catch the replay of this episode, like rewatch it, like, subscribe, engage with that podcast episode, and also share it out. And so until next Monday for 155, episode 155, we will see you later. And always remember, now is the time for a dope comeback. You can come back from anything with God, knowing how to use the right resources effectively and your willingness to do the necessary work. Make sure you donate, okay? Do not leave today without donating. Donate at sometime this week, all right? For me. All right, so thank you so much, Sharita, and I will be praying for you. Thank you so much for praying for me. All right? You have a good night.